I'm Lenrod in Zulu Baraka, correspondent for Crazy Ass News Network, the only news network dedicated to exposing bullshit in high and low places. Christian apologists are fond of claiming that Judeo Christian morality and religious ethos paved the way for the progress and achievement of the Western world. These apologists take great pride in pointing out that historically, the who of who in achievement in politics, philosophy, architecture, scholarly pursuits, scientific achievement were all self confessed Christians. According to the Christian apologists, it was these mostly Christian men of politics, philosophy, architecture, learning, and science who laid the foundation upon which Western civilization is constructed. Are Christian apologists correct when they say that Western civilization is indebted to Christendom for providing the platform upon which it is built? Could Western civilization have been built on an even better platform? These are some of the questions I propose to tackle in this edition of Crazy Ass News Network. So don't go away, I'll be right back. The pyramids of Egypt, the Parthenon of ancient Greece, and the Pantheon of Rome still stands as reminders of successful pre-Christian civilizations that thrived without either a Jewish or Christian impact. The Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt is the only one of the original seven wonders of the world that still stands today. Architects to this day are still trying to figure out how the original Egyptians built the Pyramid of Giza. Researchers are at a loss explaining how the Egyptians were able to cut to precision and fit large stone blocks weighing between 2.5 to 16 tons into their pyramids. Just how these heavy stones were hoisted into elevated positions in the pyramids is also a mystery. Even the Japanese, using modern equipment, failed in their attempt to replicate what the ancient Egyptians achieved in building the Great Pyramid of Giza. The Parthenon and the Pantheon are two ancient marble temples built by the Greeks and the Romans. The Greeks built the Parthenon to celebrate their victory over the Persians during the Greco-Persian War. The Greek sculptor and mathematician Phidias designed the Parthenon using a mathematical ratio of 4 to 9, which gave the temple a harmonious quality of order and symmetry. Though in ruins today, the Parthenon still stands as a monument of the advanced architectural and mathematical sophistication of the Greeks. The Pantheon is one of the best preserved monuments of ancient Rome. Made from concrete, the Pantheon was lined with marble imported to Rome from Greece, Egypt, North Africa, and Asia Minor. The ostentatious display of wealth that went into the construction of the Pantheon was designed to make a statement about Rome's dominion over the ancient world and over international trade. Egypt, Greece, Rome had one thing in common. None of these civilizations were indebted to Jews or Christians for their high advanced civilization. As a matter of fact, Jewish civilization or lack thereof was inferior to Egyptian civilization. Whenever the Jews found themselves in political or existential hot water, they would head straight for the comforts, the luxury, and the protection of Egypt. Jews were also quite willing to assimilate into Greek culture when the two peoples finally came into contact with each other. Many Jews adopted the Greek language and studied Greek philosophy. This explains why the entire New Testament of the Bible was written in Greek and not in Aramaic or Hebrew. Now, Christianity was viewed as a minor religious cult in the Roman Empire until the fateful decision of Constantine to embrace the Christian faith. It was only after Constantine invested the Christian church with wealth, power, and the ability to unleash obscene amounts of violence against its enemies that Christianity made significant headway in the Roman Empire. This brings us to the central question. Was Christianity a boon or a bane for Europe? Did the faith embraced by Constantine prove to be a blessing or a curse to his empire and later to the European community? Let's begin by looking at some of the positive contributions made by the Christian faith to the Roman Empire and Europe in general. Historians are of the opinion that Constantine correctly perceived that Christianity could be used as a rallying point to unite the Roman Empire. The monotheism light of Christianity suited the purposes of Constantine, who no doubt was interested in the concept of one God, one emperor, and one empire. It could therefore be truthfully said that Christianity united the Roman Empire and brought some stability amidst the growing barbarian chaos. Christian monks were largely responsible for setting up centers of learning and in copying and preserving manuscripts, which kept alive some knowledge in what became eventually known as the Dark Ages. In addition to centers of learning, the church also was engaged in humanitarian service to the poor and to the sick in the Roman Empire and later in European societies. Now, I've only mentioned three, but there were other positive contributions made by the church. On the negative side, there is a lot of unsavory stuff that the Catholic Church is trying to live down in the modern era. Not only were Christians implicated in the burning of the Library of Alexandria in the 5th century, but it was a general policy of the Constantinian brand of Christianity to destroy so-called pagan temples, books, and people, all in defense of the faith. The Council of Nicaea in 325 CE pretty much set the stage for what was to follow in succeeding centuries. After deciding what was theologically true by a majority vote, Arius and his supporters were banished and their writings consigned to the flames. After paganism was outlawed in 392 CE, temples of Mithras were smashed and filled with rubble. In the centuries that followed, many other pagan temples were either destroyed or converted into Christian houses of worship. Christians just seem to love burning stuff. They burnt pagan temples, they burnt pagan books, and of course they burnt pagan people. Now, there's no telling how much scientific, historical, cultural, and religious knowledge was destroyed by these holy pyromaniacs. The union of church and state, initiated by Constantine, created a monster with a bloodlust that would not be satisfied until every last pagan, Jew, heretic, and Mohammedan was either converted to the Christian faith or sent on to the great beyond with the musical accompaniment of much weeping, wailing, and gnashing of teeth. The medieval church may also have laid the foundation for the Jewish Holocaust by pinning the crime of deicide on the Jews and by taking a crack at them wherever the opportunity presented itself in Europe. Dissenting women were generally declared to be witches and promptly burnt at the stake. Women were also classified as the property of their husbands and fathers, and both wives and daughters could be flogged by their husbands and fathers. The rule of thumb expression is believed to have had its origin in a judge stating that a husband could beat his wife provided he used a stick no wider than his thumb. The church was also complicit in the genocide of native Indians in the New World and in the Black Holocaust. For citizens in the New World and descendants of enslaved Africans certainly do appreciate the statements of regret and the apologies made by the late Pope John Paul and by Pope Francis. In addition to kissing the feet of Africans, Pope Francis should also join in the call for reparatory justice as well. In conclusion, there's no denying that Christianity helped to shape Western civilization into what it is today. However, it could also be argued that Western civilization, like the civilizations of ancient Egypt, Greece, and Rome, could have evolved advanced civilizations on their own, with the original pagan religious orientation intact. It is quite possible that the Black First Citizen and Jewish Holocaust could have all been avoided had Europe been conditioned by a religious philosophy other than Christianity. There's no telling how much more advanced Europe would be if early Christians had not given in to their pyrotechnic urges and burnt valuable scientific and philosophical manuscripts written by pagan scientists and philosophers. We will never know how many Albert Einsteins and Gabriel de Bertulles were barbecued alive by the church. Neither can we compute how much the human collective lost because of the death of so many bright, promising thinkers at the hands of the church. So has Christianity been a boon or a bane? A blessing or a curse to Europe and the rest of the world? I've presented some of the facts, and I'll let the facts speak for themselves. I'm Lenrod in Zulu Baraka, correspondent of Crazy Ass News Network, where our motto is every day it's the same old shit, just different aspects.